what's up, friends? Thanks for tuning in to Real Estate and Shit. This is episode number 6. I'm your host, Eric Crumbaker. Again, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe below. Leave some comments, good, bad, or ugly. I do not care. Leave those comments, people. So again, yes, we got some beautiful and amazing hosts today. You've had them both as guests before. One's a permanent, one's a guest. And we have Chris Fox. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining today.
Thanks for having me.
Love the Chris Fox sold by Fox shirt. You know he sports that proudly. He should, right?
Yeah.
And we also have the beautiful Stacy Crumbaker. How are you today?
Good. I'm excited to be here.
I see on your banner you have got a name tag. What is this name tag for?
I am an ambassador for the Claremont Chamber of Commerce.
An ambassador.
I am. I'm a proud member, and I do a lot with the Claremont Chamber.
I love it. You are definitely connected to the community. Stacey, really quickly before I jump into this, what does an ambassador do?
Well, I'm the other hand for board members. So board members have a lot on their plate, and so they pass off some of the stuff to us ambassadors, and we bring the community together. I do a lot of volunteer work for all the events that the chamber does, and I'm just another face for the chamber.
Oh, I love it.
So
Very
right
cool.
now,
A beautiful face of the chamber.
Yeah.
right now we are working on Village Venture,
which
is happening in October.
Yeah,
and
can't
so
wait.
I'm
Go to our booth.
Yep, you do. And I'm head of sponsorship. So I've been going to all the local Claremont businesses trying to get sponsors for our Village Venture, which I'm super proud of.
Be sure to check into the Village Venture, everybody. Get your tickets. I think we provide tickets as well through the office. So reach out to us in the comments below, and we'll hook you guys up. But again, you guys, thanks for joining today. We got some amazing topics to go over. As we know, the market shifted. Powell had his big speech yesterday. I don't know if either of you had a chance to listen to Powell's speech about real estate. I sent it to the group yesterday. Very interesting terminology that he used. We're going to actually go through it today. So today, let's hop right back into it. As you guys know, in Real Estate and Shit, we break down all the real estate headlines that are throughout the market, Google, anywhere on the internet. We go and we analyze these and give our 2 cents on what we feel, because in all reality, we're real estate agents, all 3 of us, and we're in the trenches. So we really have a big pulse on how the market's really reacting, not based on how articles are written. So you guys ready to jump right down to it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So my first article that I have for both of you guys today, this is actually a USA Today article, and the headline is Housing Market Correction. Here's what experts think is ahead for the real estate market. So it says the Fed's interest rate hike is supposed to give the housing industry a reset, yet and brings uncertainty. Fed Chair Powell said in an effort to cool the red-hot housing market, it takes a difficult correction. Expert, housing inventory will remain tight in the coming months, even for the next couple of years. So it goes on to say the Federal Reserve's interest rate hike may be intended to give the housing industry a reset, as Chair Jerome Powell wanted it. As Chair Jerome Powell wanted, but it also may have further confused homebuyers and sellers on what to do next.
Yes.
The average 30-year fixed mortgage spiked from 3.2 to over 6.38 over the last 6 months, tightening supply as sellers hang on to those early historical low values, but demand for housing of all types still remains high nationwide. On Wednesday, Powell took an effort to cool the red-hot housing market to straighten an big imbalance, now believes it will likely take a difficult housing correction, which we're going to talk about, to fix things. For the longer term, what we need is supply and demand to get better aligned so the housing prices go up at a reasonable level and at a reasonable pace, and that people can afford houses again. With that in mind, there are silver experts what think they lie ahead, So talk to me. That's kind of a big gif on what Powell said yesterday. And before I get both of your comments, when the Fed speaks at these hearings, they use very specific wording. And when they say reset and when they say correction, there's a number tied to that.
Yeah.
And when they have a number that's tied to a correction or reset, it's always 20%. He just doesn't say 20%. They use these beautiful words, but there's a number tied to both of those words, and both of them it's 20%.
Those are the words that we use when we have our conversations with sellers when we need to do a price reduction.
It's also true, which we hope we don't have to do a lot of.
Well, I mean, let's be real here, okay? Because the past couple years since the pandemic, it's been nuts. I mean, home prices have skyrocketed. It is a lot of people were not able to purchase because of the competition level. And, you know, homes were going exceedingly amounts over the asking price, which was, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking $150,000 over asking.
I sold 2 homes, $300,000 over asking.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
It was nuts. And so what happened was a lot of these buyers, got pushed out. They got exhausted. They got beat up. They're bloody. They're bruised. They're taking a break. Well, all of a sudden, what they were qualified for at one point in the 3-4%, all of a sudden rates are up in the 6.5.
We told them
what they qualify for is so much lower, but the house prices are still a little bit higher. Home prices are staying homes are listed a little bit longer, and these sellers are like, well, wait a second, my neighbor's house sold for this amount last month. Guess what, buddy?
Yeah, that's last month.
That was last month, and a lot has changed.
A lot.
So even if we still have a small amount of inventory, I still think that some of these buyers are still not able to buy because the interest rates are just so much higher, and what they need to put down and what price point they're at is just
they're just not attracted to the inventory.
They're scared
now that they do qualify.
But I do have to say that there's been a couple homes recently that have been priced probably about $200,000 less than they would have been a year ago, and they were still fixers that still sold within the first 2 days. Yeah. So there are still homes.
Correct. Right now in this market.
Yes.
So it's funny you said that because I'm going to continue on this article. It says, will U.S. home prices drop? It's the same article. It says, Mark Zandi, chief economist of Moody's Analytics, expects a year-over-year home price growth in the U.S. to bottom out from 20% to 0% by this time next year. Zandi believes the housing market is already in a correction, which could increase home inventory as the volume sales decline. He said there are now 210 out of 400 housing markets across the country that are significantly overvalued by more than 25%. I think this will play out over the next couple of years, and it will be through mid-decade until things bottom out. Yeah. And it says, could prices drop even sooner? It says maybe as soon as fall. Says president of the brokerage of operations at real estate company Compass, believes that sellers may come back with a more realistic view on pricing as they realize the pedal to the metal days of last summer have passed.
It's gone.
So it actually ends with, even Powell isn't sure. We probably in the housing market have to go through a correction again to get back to that place of lower prices. But from a business cycle standpoint, this difficult correction could put housing market back into a better balance.
Yeah. So what I'm hoping is that prices will go down to a point where even though the interest rate is higher for the same buyer looking at one price point.
It's like a teeter-totter.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping it makes sense for these buyers to still be able to purchase at the higher price point if that home is now lower in price.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. But right now, as of this past week, I have a lot of buyers that I was continuously showing property to. They're like, putting a break on it.
And, and this is going to continue to trend, but I will tell you there are people out there buying. And I'm out there looking right now myself. And I have to admit, it's nice to go out, look at a home, and not feel like I put an offer in that night and release all my contingencies and be at risk of everything for...
Of course.
Exactly.
But you're still going to be paying 6% interest rate.
Agreed.
So for instance, myself, I was thinking about after the end of this year, I was going to get back out there and get a bigger home for my family.
Correct.
My interest rate in my current home right now is 2.875.
Yeah, you're not going to,
Never going to get that again. And I just don't know. I don't see us moving next year.
Have you thought about, Chris is helping with some of his buyers right now and asking the seller to buy down the rate?
Well, yeah, there's definitely, but I don't think a lot of sellers are really mentally there yet. They haven't quite seen the reality of it all.
That's why we become stale.
You're going to ask me for closing costs? You're going to ask me to do that?
Yeah.
So
it's going to be more. It's going to happen more and more as these things get a little harder for sellers to get the price that they want.
It's going to be a hard pill to swallow.
It's going to be hard, and it's already a hard pill for some of them to swallow.
Everything is a hard pill to swallow for everyone, buyers and sellers, both of them.
Absolutely.
I completely agree.
And that's like the stalemate that we're at, this digestion period.
We're at a stalemate.
Yeah.
That's exactly where we're at. We're at a stalemate. With buyers and sellers, neither one know what to do.
It's good for some people, I'll tell you that. So actually, it does end with, it says, will we have another housing crash? So it says, Zandi said the housing market is nowhere close to a market crash like the 2008 Great Recession. He said there won't be a housing crash primarily because new leading regulations resulted from the 2008 meltdown. That's because households are more economically stronger than 2006 prior to that crash. That's a good sign because with Fed, the goal here is not to break the economy, but to slow things down. Otherwise, it will break the housing market. And I think that's also very true. I don't think, especially with the supply and demand issue, I don't see any type of recession for real estate. The signs aren't there. There's no writing on the wall.
You said it. The demand is still there. The demand is just hesitant.
Yes, correct.
That's
but
exactly
there's still a demand.
There's a demand, but they're like,
they're skittish.
They're skittish. They're
so
like, I think I'm going to wait a couple weeks. I'm going to see what happens. And
correct.
We don't have enough time under our belt for them to get a true baseline or digest where we're at, where we're going.
Yeah.
How drastic is this going to be?
This could be scary. This is a great stalemate for them because as they stalemate, sellers can't sell their homes. So it's going to make them realize, hey, I actually have to be a part of this if I want to sell.
More motivated sellers will do, drastic
correct.
Reductions in order to accomplish their goal.
But we also have to
But those buyers are taking advantage of those sellers.
True.
Yeah, they are. But I also feel like sellers are going to also have to understand, the conversation that they're not losing, but they always think like if they have to do a price reduction or if they have to give credit that they've lost money. No, the money was never there.
Yeah.
Just because you list your house at that price and you sell it for this price, that was not money you lost.
And most of them are repurchasing somewhere too, and it's all relative. So
exactly.
Most likely the direction they're going is more volatile than what they're selling, at least in my marketplace.
Correct.
So the $30,000 to $50,000 that we reduce on their home equates to probably $100,000 and out of state, city.
Oh yeah, easily
replacement home.
Correct.
Yeah,
I completely agree. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the new article. This is from Inman, and the headline is, and it's great for us. Here are 5 things agents must master during what we know this new market shift. So this is top Keller Williams EXP leader Jim Roche and Terrence Murphy. And as they say, it starts off with, as the market continues to slow down, many agents are wondering how to navigate and return to reality where posting consecutive record-breaking years will take more effort than listing on the multiple listing service. Although the next several years will be challenging, Philadelphia-based Keller Williams leader Tim Roche and Terrence Murphy, founder of Terrence Murphy Group, said, agents can still experience immense success if they're willing to change their mindset and outwork the competition, which we always talk about. This is not the market anymore. This is not the market anymore where you can just throw up something on the MLS and set it and forget it. Roche told the Connect Now, there are people who are just kind of riding the wave that won't work and will get out of real estate. So first it says change your mindset. It says, although analysts are predicting another 2 years of slowing home sales. By the way, everyone, all these articles, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. Roche said most agents must focus on the opportunities that a downturn provides, primarily the ability to build skills that will put them light years ahead of the competition when the market recovers. By the way, I thought that was one of the biggest things. It's what we teach. It's what we preach. This is the best time to be fixing and sharpening all your skills. Says the biggest words I'm really focused on is opportunity and growth, he said. That starts with the top CEO and the leader. That's the person that really promoting and bringing the energy and establishing the culture day to day. Roche said leaders will need to help their agents identify opportunities to expand their expertise, create a new niche to find additional income streams, and complement their existing book of business. We love downturns in the markets, not to the sense that of seeing everybody get hurt, but it gives me an opportunity to really step away and separate myself as a leader from the competition. I mean, what great advice. It's solid.
It is. Yeah. So, I mean, them saying like, the downturn, and it does scare me somewhat, okay? But in the past couple of years, I have literally been turning and burning every day so fast. Everything's go, 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 that I really have not had a chance or time to really hone in on some of the things that I used to do.
Correct.
So I've been, there's so many things I want to do for my clients and to build my opportunity and my growth, and I have not even had a moment to even focus.
That's why we're getting assistance.
Exactly. That's why we're getting assistance.
They watch my video.
So I'm gonna fully accept this, and I'm gonna take it on as a time for me to really just dig deep into my business.
I love it. Yeah, mindset's really big. What about you, Chris?
Well, I think
you agree with this article?
Building those relationships are so much more important now.
I completely agree,
especially because we're the professionals. Our clients are relying on us to interpret this narrative that they're reading, and it's important that they trust us.
And we have to understand what's going on in the narrative so that we can explain it to them in a way that they understand.
In real life.
This is a big investment for them. Either they're buying an investment or they're selling an investment.
Correct.
They don't know. It's just like saying, say they're a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I go to you to help me, to guide me, tell me what I need to do. Same way for us.
Correct. I completely agree.
A seat cover's not going to get it done anymore.
It's very true. And it's funny because number 2 out of the 5 is focus on the fundamentals. It says along with an attitude shift, Roche and Murphy said agents must reacquaint themselves with the basic of providing excellent service, like Chris was just saying. Something they may have slacked on over the last 2 years of homes often sold with little effort. Yeah. And I love this because this brings me back to when I was in Division I soccer, and we were having, when you're playing and practicing every day and you're having double days, and soccer is 7 days a week, and it's not like back when you're in a club and it's every Tuesday, Thursday, and you're pushing. You can't be on all the time. And there's just days that you're off. And I'll never forget my coach, Nat. He always told me when I had bad days, he's like, bro, don't focus on being good. Don't focus on all that stuff. Focus on the fundamentals. Just get the one pass over to him and just focus on the small things, and that's going to get you through it. So I'm reading this. He says, I'm going back to my athletic background, said Murphy, who spent several years in the NFL. When the going gets tough, you lean on the fundamentals. Yeah. Whether you're a golfer, football player, basketball player, getting ready to shoot those free throws and have the game-winning shot on the line, he added, as the stakes get higher, you've got to lean onto the fundamentals. For both team leaders, the fundamentals include time blocking, lead generation, negotiating, and leaning to masterly analyze contracts. I think we need to focus on reading the contracts. We skip past because there's nothing sexy about it, right? Says Murphy. But if you really understand your contracts, that's going to that competence that will create confidence. Number 2 would be time blocking, Murphy asked. You have to be willing to have really good real estate conversations. This market is not going to fall in your lap, like Chris just said. You've got to be proactive, and you've got to pace yourself. I think a lot of real estate agents, we try too much, too fast, and we burn out. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Yeah. While Murphy is a fanatic about contracts and time blocking, Roche said he's all about helping agents create rock-solid lead generation plans. Let's get back to basics, baby, he said excitedly. I like it, excitedly. Getting on the phones, getting in front of people, getting into real direct, like combat sort style of real estate, belly to belly, and focus on understanding people.
Well, that's kind of like what our brokerage is about.
I know. It's why I get pumped up.
And I remember when
element.
I remember when you first talked about the name of us, and you're like, I want to be belly to belly with our clients. Yes. I want them to have that element, that customer service, like person to person. And I think you're right. I'm excited to get back out there. I feel that a lot of my clients, after we closed, it was like, peace out. Yep. I love you guys. And then I would never see them again.
Because it was just a hot market. Things are going so quickly.
So busy. But now I think I'm excited to get back and be like, hey guys, talk to me. What's been going on?
Correct.
What are you doing? And have those moments again.
It's exciting. I'm excited to invest in that portion.
Same. I'm really excited too. It's funny, as we talk about this, wait until I get a couple articles down on the marketing side of this new shift. Yeah. So it ends with being proactive. Understand the basics isn't enough. Agents have to be a proactive search by surveying their clients and finding new ones. You have to be able to have tough conversations, handle those objections, and be able to pivot and respond to the issues that are going to arise, he said. As everybody saw COVID, the transaction got a lot tougher, and the best agents were the ones that were able to pivot, control, and grow their market share, which is so smart. He says, I think people who do their best in tough markets and tough times have the knowledge, he said. We had our big team meeting on a Wednesday, and we sat down and got deep into the numbers, and we should be going to the numbers. I felt like my agents walked out of there with more confidence to be able to talk on anything to anyone at any time. And it's funny because when I read this, I feel like that's what we do. We go over the numbers, talk about what's working, what's not, what's our market doing compared to what we're doing. And I hope it gives everyone confidence to go out there and talk to their clients with the data behind them to support the conversation. Yeah. This is huge.
Yeah, the relationships that we have just internally here are so healthy.
I agree.
Sometimes I have the answer, but it just took me having a conversation with one of you and you guys listening to figure it out, and it's just
like 3 times a day, Chris, for me. I'm always leaning on everyone.
But that's what I love about this, tight-knit office environment that we have.
I completely agree.
Work so hard and we're go, and you're right, there's going to be days where we have off days.
Oh yeah.
And like a couple days ago I had an off day, and Chris recognized it, and like when I was walking out the door, he's like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then later that night he sent me a text message just to tell me he loved me and he was thinking about me, and it's like, you need that. You need that support. Like, it made me smile. It made me like, okay, tomorrow's a new day. Yeah. It's super important.
It really is. 4th and 5th, we're not really going to get into it, but it's train. It's getting back to the basics, the fundamentals, really training, having, it's funny, we have these call days on Wednesdays. It brings that up. Training and having these days are really important going forward. And then last, it's mastering your money. He says, I have a heart for real estate agents, just like I have a heart for athletes. We don't get the credit we deserve. We work so hard. We sacrifice so much. But I always look at the end, and we don't always have an exit strategy. We can't get off this hamster wheel, he added. As the market turns, we'll see a lot of people that will be forced to get out of the business because they didn't set up other income streams.
Yeah.
And as hard as that is, it's good and bad for us. It's good because it weeds a lot of the bad agents out. And it's good because we should be managing our money, you know, for the ones that are actually here for the long term, the long run. This is our career. We're here to help and serve. You know, it's smart for us to be doing these things.
Yeah, I've learned the hard way.
Me too.
You know?
I think everyone has, right?
I'm like, I don't really have a comment on this. I'm like,
I know. But I'm grateful to have learned than not, you know, because
it's so true.
I mean, you have other streams of income. You have your Airbnbs and whatnot, and like me and Chris over here are like, we're on the wheel, running.
I've been running that wheel hard.
I know, me too.
You know what though?
What's wrong with us?
Sometimes those income streams dry up too. You know.
Yeah. Well,
but I'm glad it's a wake up call for us to make some corrections.
Let's find another income stream.
Yes.
I've heard that OnlyFans is a really good one.
Oh, you're a female. Might work really well for you. You're cracking me up. Okay, so getting on to number 3. This is actually another Inman article, and actually I like how these are aligned together. The headline is, Don't expect mortgage rate relief in 2023, Fannie Mae warns. It says, with the Federal Reserve still struggling to get inflation under control, economists at Fannie Mae no longer expect mortgage rates to ease much next year, even with a moderate recession looming. In their latest monthly forecast, Fannie Mae forecast once again lowered their projections from 2022 to 2023 home sales, with mortgage rates recently hitting new highs in 2022. In our view, the recent interest rate surge is due to the market's recognition that two critical factors: that inflation is indeed not transitory, and that to tame it, the Federal Reserve will need to be resolute even at the risk of possible recession. So it says Fannie Mae economist Doug Duncan said in a statement, inflation's entrenchment and the policy action likely required of the Fed confirms that the expectation of our forecast of a moderate recession beginning in the first quarter of 2023. That said, the rise in rates have having the Fed desired effect on housing as home prices growth began to slow in June. And it actually shows a little graph projection over the next, all the way into Q4 of 2023. And it's really, rates are staying in the 5s. Mm-hmm. I see 5.6, 5.5, 5.4, 5.7. This is here to stay, guys.
Yeah. It makes me wonder how creative banks will get with products.
Yes. Well, they're going to have to.
Will we see a neg am again?
Oh, we might. You know, they're going to get creative. Well, we're already seeing that. We're already seeing like the 5.1s, the 7.1s. You know, I brought up to a buyer who was getting quoted at like 6.5% on interest rate. I'm like, well, have you talked to your lender about a 5.1 or a 7.1 or a 10.1? They're like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I was like, first of all, they don't. They that scares them because of what happened in 2008.
It still stings for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But a lot of families that have recently purchased just weathered that storm.
Yeah, right.
It took them this long to.
So when I tell them that, they're like, "No, we're going to do a 30-year fix," and I'm like, "But why? Now, if there's a program out there that you're going to have like a 4.5 for 10 years, why wouldn't you do that?" And they're like, "Well, it hurt us in the past." I'm like, "Well, it's a little bit different now, you know." But people are still,
and that's the
like,
problem. These
really
products are great if you use them the way they're
intended to be
used. You know, but like you give the longer the leash, you know, they're gonna
always take advantage, right? Give an inch, take a mile.
Yeah.
Well, there will always be predatory lending, always. But that is like where we come in so that we can refer our personal lenders that we have done business with, that we trust, that are honest people. You know, when I have a buyer or a client that comes in and tells me about a lender that they just found by like Googling it, I'm like, oh God, red flag, red flag.
I won't even represent a buyer unless they are going to work with one of my preferred lenders.
Yeah, well, like, because if a deal ever falls apart, it's always
if it's going to be a nightmare, it's going to be a nightmare for all of us.
It's true.
Exactly.
You know, I'm going to ask you guys both a question because, you know, going over this article and knowing where we talked about at the beginning about buyers off, you know, on the fence right now based on where rates are. If I'm looking at the next 2 years forecasting mid-5s, that's not far off from where we're at right now. So what's the next 2 years going to look like? Are buyers just going to magically wake up and realize this is it? We're going to have to continue to go forward? Or like Stacey said, the ones that can't afford the home anymore because the rates went up past what they affordability used to be, even if they would have overpaid on some properties. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to just
I think what's going to happen is that we're going to see, say, a house that they looked at a year ago that was $1 million. They're going to find something similar to it that's now like at $825. Yeah, exactly. And even though the interest rate's higher, the price point's different, and it's going to be a wash.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Do you think the inventory is going to be there for them to find that property at a lower price?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. It's funny you said that because it says last month.
Normalizing, I think, is an exciting term that should be used.
It is.
Like,
I'm happy for this.
Great for buyers and
if our
sellers
buyers use some of these programs, that they're not having to do a 30-year conventional. I think there's a lot.
I think the biggest problem is buyers are anticipating the crash.
Yes.
And
well, this is the crash.
A correction is not a crash.
This is the crash.
This is the crash.
To identify the difference.
Yeah. And this is not that crashy.
Well, we're gonna get into it too on the next article, but it goes on to say last month Fannie Mae economists were forecasting a 16% decline in 2022 home sales. Now with mortgage rates surging past 6% to the highest level since 2008, they expect 5.71 million new and existing homes to change hands this year, which would represent a 17.2% drop from last year. It says next year, Fannie Mae is projecting sales of new and existing home sales will fall another 13% to 5 million, down from August's forecast of 2023 total home sales of 5.18 million. The revision was driven mostly by lower expectations for new home sales, which are now expected to fall by 22% over the next year to 599,000 homes. That's more drastic than 16% projected drop in the existing home sales, which are now expected to be a total of 510 million last year. It goes on to end although the new home inventories were at the highest level in 2009, in July, home builders do not appear to be offering incentives sufficient to more grown inventories.
Well, they're going to start having to.
Well, it's funny you say that. It says, however, many publicly traded home builders continue to report historically elevated gross margins through the second quarter, suggesting, Stacey, room for greater discounting in the future.
Yeah, I think that if like regular sellers see anything from the new builds, like new builds always provide pretty good incentives.
They do.
And lately they haven't been.
Yeah.
And so like I think like now they're going to be like, we better start giving incentives. And I think some sellers, like regular sellers, are going to have to do some incentives to these buyers. Yeah. At one point when the market was crazy, buyers were giving sellers incentives.
Yeah.
They were like giving like taco trucks and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And like their firstborn.
They'll let them stay in the house for 6 months. Yes. They'll pay for it.
Yes. Yeah. They were like, here's
with $200,000 on top.
Yeah. Here's a dog, here's a puppy, here's some kittens. Like,
I wonder how many sellers are still in possession of their home. From that way.
There could be a few. You're right, Chris. You're right. That's so funny you said that. Yeah, it's very interesting, right?
Yeah.
Well, so
it's going to be like a totally like turn.
Yeah.
Like now, like buyers who are like, please sell me your house, please accept my offer. Now they're like, yo, bitch, you want me? No, come get it. You know, that's what buyers have now have the control.
No, it's true. You don't want it at 500,000? Okay, I'll come back next week at 490.
Exactly. No. and then every week after that, 10,000
less until he accepts.
Like I'm here to buy
me? Yeah, right?
I'll find you.
I'll find you. Oh, man. This is fun. Yeah. So here's our last article of the day. This is actually a KCM article. It says, what experts say will happen with home prices next year. So which is actually pretty good after what we've just been discussing. It says, as experts are starting to make their 2023 home price forecast. As they do, most agree homes will continue to gain value just at a slower pace.
Ish.
Over the past couple years, home prices have risen at an unsustainable rate, leaving many to wonder how long it would last. If you're asking yourself what's ahead for the price of my home, know that as experts are now answering this question, and it's welcome news for home buyers who may have been led by the media, while we have this podcast, to believe their home would lose value. It says historically, home prices have appreciated at a rate near 4%. For 2023, the average of six major forecasters noted below of 2.5%, while one Zelman and Associates is calling for a depreciation. So I'm looking at this right now, and I'll post for you guys, and it's actually showing that on average from Fannie Mae, HPES, Freddie Mac, MBA, NAR, and Zelman, all six but one are projecting a 4% increase next year in your home value. It's not great, but
I think it's maybe in some markets. I don't think that's going to be in our market. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think I want it to. I mean, I don't want them to increase, but I want them
Stacey, I swear last year we were increasing by 18%.
Yeah, I know,
like 4%. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
It's just like that de-acceleration term.
It's a de-acceleration. It's still accelerating at a very slow rate. But you know what's crazy? This is what I feel everyone gets hung on. They get hung on this number. They're like, oh, 4%. I can make more than 4% if I put my money somewhere else. In all reality, the problem is, I think the concern is people don't understand is, when it's your home and you're at a 4% appreciation for the year, it's still your money in your piggy bank. Yeah. You put your money in the stock market looking for a 10% gain, that's a risk. You're risking that. Home ownership is one of the most conservative and well-to-do things that you can invest in that always appreciate over time.
It's true.
And it's yours.
And there's a whole nother element that we're not even looking at is employment.
Agreed.
So employment, I mean, if you're confident in your employment, you're buying a home. You're not an investor. I keep saying that over and over again, but like the quality of life and getting settled.
Oh, yeah.
The demand is still going to be there to purchase a home.
Oh, yeah.
And
then one of the best things I don't think people also realize is how you can leverage owning a home. Refinancing, taking HELOCs out, using it for other investments, using that to show on another investment that you have other investments. There's so many more positives that you can bring up than negatives when owning a home at any interest rate. Yeah. I mean, it's the honest truth. Let's be honest.
People aren't losing jobs right now.
No, but
wages are not decreasing.
No, but they're going to start. From what Jerome Powell said yesterday, that's what needs to happen right now. We have too many employed people in this country, and
everybody's hiring,
and they need to bring it down significantly. That's the only way. So you're going to see it. Well, that's why Compass cut 10% of their jobs. Redfin cut 10% of their jobs.
In the real estate industry.
No, not just real estate. I just know of real estate, but right now across the board, you're going to see job cuts everywhere.
I don't know. Like in the service industry, I'm not feeling that. I feel like
well, service industry never gets job cuts. Let's be honest right now. That's a completely different beast. Restaurants and bars thrive in a recession. I mean, that's just the name of the game. You when you're in a recession, you get drunk. It goes on to end just really quickly. It says, bottom line, experts are calling for home prices to appreciate next year, although at a slower pace than previously 3 years. Which is fine. The reason for this is simple. The dynamics of supply and demand are playing out in the real estate and will continue for many years to come. So going through all these articles and going through this journey of this podcast we had today, I couldn't be more confident on both sides of the market. I couldn't be more confident about real estate in general.
Yeah. I think our market's resilient. I think we're all going to be resilient.
Always has.
And I think we're all going to be fine. I think we just need to work smarter.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to, like we said before the podcast, we're going to put a lot of hats on.
Yeah. Got to put a lot more hats on. Service a lot better in different ways.
Exactly. And be really smart. Educate yourself on all the different loan programs.
Yeah.
Educate yourself
on the market.
On the market. Just educate yourself.
And it's a big one on here. I think most people oversee and they overlook because it's so easy to say and not do. The mental side of this game over the next 2 years is going to be imperative. Yeah. Because it's going to be hard. Yeah. We're going to have hard days, and it's not going to be easy for us, buyers or sellers. And it's us, like Stacey said, we're the therapist. And for us to be therapists, our mind has to be right.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
So it really matters with the fortitude that we have to have over the next 2 years to really be a service for our clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, man, what a great day, you guys. I appreciate you guys coming on today. Real estate and shit. We have Chris Fox. We have Stacey Crumbaker. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. Leave some comments below. We love everything about you guys. And thanks for tuning in. And we're going to see you guys all next week. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.